Tonight, Shakur Stevenson is gonna fight Artem. I don't know, his last name is so long, Harunyan, whatever you call his last name, but I can't pronounce that Armenian last name, so I'm gonna just pronounce it Artem. So Shakur Stevenson is fighting Artem, who's 12-1 with 7 KO, and he beat Frank Martin. That fight, I think, if you really watch that fight, I think Frank Martin lost that fight. But just because he beat Frank Martin, Artem, the Armenian boxer, that doesn't mean that he's going to beat Shakur Stevenson, because Shakur Stevenson is on a different level. He's not on the same level as a Frank Martin. Frank Martin hasn't really fought anybody. He fought Ali, that Dominican fighter, and he beat him. But who has he beaten? But at the end of the day, he lost to a good fighter. Ali's a good fighter, but I don't think he's elite status. He's a good fighter with boxing ability, but I don't think he's elite status. And Frank Martin, he hasn't proven anything. He has power, but against who? So I feel like this guy is a solid contender, Artem. But I don't think he's gonna beat Shakur Stevenson. I think Shakur Stevenson's built a different way, and I think he's really got the goods to be dominant in the sport, because he's a great technician. He's a fighter that not necessarily runs. Shakur Stevenson, he could stay in the pocket and still hit you and move and not get hit being right in the pocket, because he uses a lot of angles. He has a lot of quickness, like reaction. He has a lot of quick defense, and I feel like he could fight in the pocket, Shakur Stevenson, and still um, outland you and not get hit too much. He's really good at doing that. He doesn't necessarily have to run. He has a combination of Pernell Whitaker, and he has a little bit of Pernell Whitaker in him. I see a little bit of Pernell Whitaker in Shakur Stevenson, but he's probably been influenced by him. I think he has. That's one of the fighters that he was inspired to box. To start boxing. Is Pernell Whitaker was one of his fighters that he actually really looked up to. Shakur Stevenson. I feel like Shakur Stevenson is he's gonna show what he's made of in this fight tonight. But he's fighting whoever's available, and the guy that he's fighting, even though he lost a controversial decision to Frank Martin, it's the best possible opponent for Shakur Stevenson at the moment, because he hasn't been getting those real big fights. But you have to look at it like he beat Oscar Diaz. Oscar Diaz was very successful in defending his title a few times, and I feel like that he doesn't have the great defense like Oscar Diaz, but he's very credible champion that he beat. He was a very credible champion, and I feel like Shakur Stevenson beat the most the best possible opponents that he could beat, considering that a lot of the elite fighters Tank Davis haven't been willing to fight him, and everything is all about protecting your fighter, your promotions, the promoters protect their fighters, and I feel like it's all about money, and they want to protect their cash cow. So I feel like that's not really Shakur Stevenson's fault, and I feel like the fight should happen now, soon. It should happen, even though they want to make the fight with Lomachenko and Tank Davis. But the fight with Lomachenko and Tank Davis, that fight is already too old. It would have been good to make that fight maybe a couple of years ago. But now Lomachenko's name, I just feel like his name lost some sting. His name doesn't have the same power behind it like it used to. I mean, he's still a household name, and I just feel like a lot of times they sympathize with Lomachenko because of what's going on in his country, you know, Ukraine and Russia, and that's that political stuff that I really don't want to open the door to that. But there's a lot of stuff that the reason why they favor those fighters from Ukraine is because they sympathize them, and they sympathize with the situation, so they give them the benefit of the doubt even when they lose. Because I feel like the last fight, there was a fight with a Ukrainian fighter, and there was a fighter that was of Mexican descent that I really liked, and they were not giving him the victory. They didn't give him the victory. But I don't want to get into that. Right now, I feel like on the undercard, there's going to be Keyshawn Davis, there's going to be William Zepeda, and Keyshawn Davis is a really good fighter. Um, I still need to see more, but he proved something. He proved something in when he fought the Puerto Rican former champion that he beat. I think he proved something in that fight, and I feel like he's just getting better and better as each fight goes along. Keyshawn Davis, so keep an eye on him. Still needs to prove himself, but he's been proving himself little by little with each fight, and a little bit of fights that he has, he's proving that he's getting better. And as far as William Cepeda, he's 30-0 with 26 KOs. The last fight that he fought, he beat Maxi Huge, who had only 5 KOs in his record, and you know he wasn't the most defensive fighter at all. Like he's easy, susceptible to get hit. He has a good stance. I like he fights at an angle, which is good. I like the way William Cepeda fights at an angle, and he's trained by Panda, the same trainer that trained Subriel Matias. Don't want to talk about Subriel Matias right now. Don't want to talk about that. But I feel like William Cepeda is a good prospect. I don't think that he has the material, the skill level, the skill set to beat a Shakur Stevenson. I think he's basically Oscar De La Hoya is just saying that to build his name, to clout chase, like Shakur Stevenson says. I believe that William Cepeda, he's not ready for that smoke. Not with Shakur Stevenson. He has too much skills. He's too fast, and I believe William Cepeda is too slow. He has power, but against what fighter? What fighter does he knock out? I just feel like he's not on that Tank Davis level of power. No, William Cepeda's not on that Davis level of power. No way. But I see him being successful until he fights Shakur Stevenson or Tank Davis. If he fights any of those guys, he's not gonna win. I don't think he's gonna win. They're promoting him pretty good. When you have the machine behind you, they're gonna set you up to win. But if you don't have the machine behind you, they're gonna set you up to lose. And that's what happened to Subriel Matias. He didn't have the big machine behind him, so they set him up to lose. And boxing is politics, man. That's just the reality of it. It's not the way it used to be. Even the commentators are not knowledgeable like back in the days when we had Freddie Pacheco, Howie Cosell. That's old school stuff right there. They would tell it how it is, and they knew their boxing. And Bert Sugar, he knew his boxing. Bert Sugar, I didn't agree with everything that he said, but Bert Sugar, he spoke whatever he felt was real, but he knew his boxing. Freddie Pacheco, Howie Cosell, Bobby Chiz. I don't know if you guys remember on Showtime, Bobby Chiz. Bobby Chaz. He was a boxer. His career, like he was a light heavyweight, cruiserweight. He wasn't so successful in his boxing career. He was successful to a degree, but at the same time, the way he commentated the fights, he was really good at commentating. He knew what he was talking about. I used to love watching him on Showtime, but a lot of these commentators are just personalities. They don't have the knowledge. They just say things, and it's just to like be funny and just be comical about things. But a lot of even the zone cast, the only one that knows his boxing is the one that used to be a former boxer. If you guys remember his name, let me know. He knows his stuff because he was a former boxer. He was a former champion. So like with him, I listen to what he says on the zone, on the cast. But everybody else, you can tell that they're just personalities, But at the end of the day, I feel like Shakur Stevenson is gonna win in dominating fashion. But this guy, he's gonna bring his A game, and I believe that it's gonna be an interesting fight. But I truly believe that Shakur Stevenson is just too much for Artem. I don't know how to say his last name. Harunen, whatever. If I got it right, let me know if I got it right. But Tony also knows boxing. My take on the fight for tonight is Shakur Stevenson is gonna win in dominating fashion. I don't know too much about Artem. I just know that he took a knee when he fought a 12 round decision to Frank Martin, which he should have won the fight, but they gave the fight to Frank Martin. So, yeah, he's coming all the way from Germany. He's Armenian, but he lives in Germany, and he's coming all the way from Germany to fight Shakur Stevenson. So when you're traveling from far away, you definitely gonna bring your A game because you're traveling from far away, so you're not gonna come and waste your time and just try to get a check. I think that he's really trying to win the fight, but I mean Shakur Stevenson is basically on another level. He got the machine behind him, and I believe that when you have the machine behind you, even if you lose a close fight, more than 9 times out of 10, they're gonna favor the champion that signed with the big machine. It's just boxing politics, but I truly believe that uh, Shakur Stevenson is gonna win and he's gonna dominate. And if he doesn't dominate, he'll still win. That's boxing. That's boxing for you right now. It's just politics. But I truly believe he's gonna win, and in spectacular fashion, he's gonna dominate. I don't know if he's gonna knock him out. I don't really think so. He's saying that he's gonna show people that he doesn't have to run away. That he can stay in the pocket and still beat you up. But will he knock him out? I don't think so. He might be able to surprise some of us. When he puts his combinations together, he does knock you down, and he can, like, the speed itself can actually be power when you use it right and you use the angles and you don't see it coming. You can set it up right in a way where it surprises the opponent and knock him down. And it all depends. Those fighters are very hungry when they come from Germany, and I feel like it's gonna be a good showcase for Shakur Stevenson, considering that Frank Martin should have lost to Artem, but he didn't. That's the best possible opponent that Shakur Stevenson could choose right now, considering that a lot of the elite fighters don't want to fight him. Yeah, so William Zepeda, I think he's good. He has power. He's exciting to watch, but I don't feel like he has good defense. And if you put him in with a Shakur Stevenson, it's going to be a one-sided fight where Shakur Stevenson dominates. I just feel like he has too many holes in his game. He's too open. He got hit by Maxi Hughes, even though Maxi Hughes got knocked out by him. But Maxi Hughes wasn't anything special. He was fast, but not as fast as Shakur Stevenson. So imagine if he got hit with that kind of fighter. Imagine how he's going to look against a elite boxer with that skill level that Shakur Stevenson has. Imagine how he's going to look against him. So I look at all those variables, and I feel like Shakur Stevenson's going to look dominant, but and I just feel like I need to see more from William Zepeda for me to actually see how good he is. He is good. He has potential, but against Tank Davis, Shakur Stevenson, I don't see him. I don't see him winning. But against Pitbull Cruz, that's interesting because that fight could go either way. I still think Pitbull Cruz is he would win, but I don't know for sure because you don't know how good he's going to get as each fight goes along as far as William Zepeda. So I give him the benefit of the doubt. There's room for improvement, there's room for growth, and I feel like William Zepeda, he will definitely get better, but they have to step up the competition with him because you have to fight fighters that Maxi Hughes was a former IBO champion. IBO. I don't know. They just create belts just to make money. IBO championship. I don't know how credible that is, but I just feel like he needs to step up his competition, and I believe he could be a Goldenboy creation because Goldenboy is actually using Shakur Stevenson's name just to make his name bigger, just to build William Zepeda's name, and that's boxing. That's the way it is now. They clout chase and they use the other boxers to build up their fighter's name. That doesn't mean they actually really want to fight each other. Just because they called out Shakur Stevenson, they don't want that smoke. De La Hoya knows that he ain't ready for that smoke because if you know your boxing based on skill, You know that William Zepeda has a puncher's chance, but when it comes to Shakur Stevenson and William Zepeda, I don't think he has a chance at all. I mean, Shakur Stevenson is just that great. Saludo, hermano Coqui. Boricua, yeah, you know how we do. Yeah, thanks for tuning in. Subscribe. Oh, the weather over here is mad hot. Florida, I went outside just to take a little walk down the street, and my whole sweat was drenched. I was drenched in sweat. My whole shirt drenched in sweat, and when I came back, it's like you could see my skin through my shirt. That's how bad it was. Heading to John Boxing in Castle Hills to get some sparring. Oh, you box in the Boogie Down Bronx? Respect to you. Love the Albizu Campos profile. I want to hear some Matias news soon. He should pledge a promise to his fans. He will come back. Subriel Matias. I'm so frustrated with that. Yeah. Subriel Matias. I'm still rooting for my brother, my Puerto Rican brother. I feel like they paid him. They paid him off because he wasn't the fighter that was signed to a long-term contract. Subriel Matias news. I'm gonna give it to you when it comes, but when you don't have that big machine behind you, you don't have no control over the career. It's like boxing politics. Feels like a dive. Yeah, man. So you train in so you went to Maestro school. They have a school of Albizu Campos. They got an Albizu Campos school in the Bronx too, in Chicago too. My wife's from Chicago. I'm from Brooklyn, but yeah, man. Respect, man. Respect for representing that. Representing the independence of Puerto Rico. Yep. It was a boxing gym. Boxing gym in Maestro. Yeah. So I'm just talking about the Shakur Stevenson fight tonight, which I like Shakur Stevenson. I support. Yeah, you love Brooklyn. I love Brooklyn too, man. I love the real Brooklyn. The part that I'm from, the hood. But they got the gentrified side and they got the hood side. It's 50-50. Yeah. I think Steven should win. Yeah, me too. Yeah, it's gonna be hard. Hopefully he gets a KO. He said that he's gonna fight in the pocket. I guess he didn't like the backlash that he got from his last fight with De Los Santos. But sometimes, yeah, gentrified Brooklyn is whack. But sometimes you gotta look bad to look good. He hurt his hand. That was the reason. I truly believe that he hurt his hand. I think he's the goods. I think that he has a chance to beat Tank Davis, even though Tank Davis has boxing skills, but he's known more for his power. And Shakur Stevenson is known more for his boxing skills, not for his power. So we'll see what happens when they fight. That would be good. Yeah, I think Berlanga's gonna get Canelo. Coqui. You know why? Because boxing is so fake right now. It's so no frills. They're gonna put a bootleg version of Mexico versus Puerto Rico just because it looks good on paper, but it doesn't mean that it's actually good on the resume. Because who did Berlanga fight? Who did he beat? He didn't beat anybody to get to fight Canelo, but Canelo's ducking the real challenges like David Benavidez. He's ducking the real fights. He fought what's his name? What's that guy that Munguia? He fought Munguia in his last fight. Jaime Munguia, he's a decent fighter. Don't get me wrong, but he's not at the level of David Benavidez. I don't care what anybody says. Everybody knew that he's one-dimensional. It would have been a better fight to have Munguia fight Berlanga because they were both basically unproven. I think Munguia was more proven than Berlanga, if you want to be fair. But it was more even fight if you put Munguia versus Berlanga. But you put Munguia versus Canelo, man. Canelo's way above. He's in another level. Even if he's older, he has too much on his resume, too many champions that he fought. Even though some of them, they were just paper champions that he beat. The only true champion that he fought was Golovkin, Daniel Jacobs, and all those other fighters. Bernie Sanders. What's the other guy? A lot of these guys that he picked, people knew about him because Canelo chose to fight him. He fought Amir Khan. Amir Khan is coming from what, from 147? Come on, that's not a real champion. A real champion fights people in their weight class and dominates them. Because if you see the fights that Canelo gets all the victories, he is always a close fight. They could have went either way. All right, Benavidez should stay. He should, but at the same time, he's he's not getting the fight with Canelo, so he wants to accomplish stuff in a higher weight class, 175. But you saw his power is not the same at 175 as it is at 168. So I believe that David Benavidez, his power is much stronger at 168 than 175. Khan was winning as well. Yeah, because he was boxing him. Khan was outboxing him, but at the same time, he's not physically big enough to compete with Canelo. Like he's coming up from a smaller weight class. Yeah, but Amir Khan, I didn't like him. He had no chin. He was very chinny, and he was just trying to last as long as possible, calling out all the bigger names so he could stay relevant. He's doing the same thing that a lot of boxers do when they know that they're not lasting any longer in their career. Just like when a lot of boxers nowadays, when they know that they don't have enough left in the tank, they're gonna call out the biggest names possible to stay relevant and to last as long as possible and make the most money to retire on a high. That's what Teofimo Lopez is doing, calling out Crawford. You don't deserve to fight Crawford. Crawford's at an elite status, and the only way that I say that he could fight a Crawford is if he rematches Kambosos, Teofimo Lopez. And then he could talk about fighting a Crawford and being at that level. But he hasn't earned that level. And he hasn't really dominated the 140 class. He fought an inactive, 32 months inactive Josh Taylor. So there's a lot of politics, and then he's just doing things to make himself relevant. He's calling out all the big names. There's a lot of clout chasing going on. That's what it is. Crawford wipes the floor. Facts, man. Crawford wipes the floor with, even when the guy that he's fighting, the Eddie Hearns has him fighting. I think it's a Russian fighter, undefeated. Eddie Hearns is saying that he's going to upset Crawford. I mean, Crawford is not getting any younger, but, anything's possible. It could be a setup. Boxing is all politics. But he signed, I don't know if he signed him with a long-term deal. But if it sounds like Eddie Hearns probably did sign the fighter that's fighting Crawford to a long-term deal and signed Crawford to a multi-fight deal. I don't know. I think he's a free agent. If you ask me, I think Crawford's a free agent. So he's banking on this guy to win, to upset Crawford. And he's a snake. I don't trust him. He did the same thing with Subriel Matias. So I don't want to get into that. But yeah, Crawford has gone up in weight and he knows it. Oh yeah, he has gone up in weight. Those are facts. Yeah, he's gone up in weight. So we don't know what version of Crawford we're gonna have. But he does have the skill set, but he's not getting any younger. So it's very intriguing. That matchup is intriguing. We don't know. It could be a 50-50 fight. But I doubt it. I think Crawford still has the goods, but we don't know what Crawford's going to show up. He's been inactive. That's another thing I don't like about boxing today. Is so much inactivity. And boxing has just become a big corporate sewer business. That's what it's become. But facts. Yeah, so I appreciate everybody tuning in. Yeah, yep, Khan was a trash hype job. He definitely was. Those are facts. Tune into my channel, Tony Also Knows Boxing. Subscribe, press the subscribe button. I appreciate all the love and all the honesty coming from my people, and all the love and all the hate. Is at the end of the day, it makes my channel great. Regardless, I'm doing it for the people, for people that follow me, and I'm doing it for the honesty and integrity of boxing. That's what boxing needs. Good content creators, great, honest journalism that we don't really have. Everybody's clout chasing. They're just going with what's popular, and they're doing that, and then it's making them acceptable to the mainstream. But if you do an independent content creation of boxing, you should go against the grain and do what most people are not doing. Be honest and call out the sport for what it is and just say the truth. But yeah, subscribe to Tony Also Knows Boxing. Check out my music on all major platforms. The Prodigy of Albizu Campos, The Monumental Truth, single Unite the Tribes by Tony Also. Basically, talking about some real stuff you got to check out for yourself. If you want to check out my content on TikTok, I talk about a lot of different political stuff that's going on in the island with the United States colonialism of Puerto Rico. And I talk about that in my music. And I got an R&B, dance, Afro beats, house music album coming out. It's called The Essence of Who I Am. It's coming out soon. It's going to be available on all major platforms. Check out Tony Also Knows Boxing. Subscribe to my channel. Click that like button. Comment. I appreciate all the love. Press the subscribe button. Tony Also Knows Boxing. One love. You know me. I never keep it fake. I keep it real. One love. Tony Also Knows Boxing. Thanks for tuning in, my people.